Hello, I'm Adomako Man. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to be doing this season 2 of Aman Home videos. The reason why I decided to do a season 2 is because I feel that I'm at a place where I have something to say about my lifestyle and about my life. Even though I'm very vibrant and I'm very, I have like a very exciting personality, I do enjoy my privacy. But, I feel like my story can motivate people. My life motivates people. My life motivates me. Since last season, I've done a lot. I've directed my second narrative short film piece. Which you can see on this channel as well. Piece is a love story short film that dives into the complexities of a down-low queer relationship. I got in a conversation with a friend, and this friend is very masculine presenting and very secure in their identity and who they are and their lifestyle. And I remember we were on the phone for maybe 3 or 4 hours talking, and he came out to me and he told me, that he is in a relationship with this guy he's been in love with for 2 years, and he wanted to share that with me, and I felt so invited into his life at that moment. At that moment, I knew that this story could help, provoke conversations about Black queer men and their identities and their relationship to their, to their queerness and things like that. One of the reasons why I got into filmmaking and continue to make films is because I'm interested in telling stories of people who are underserved. For me, it's just really important to be able to highlight stories of people and celebrate them. As you saw last season, I'm such a cheerleader for people, for those people who are standalone different, and they're not trying to be different, they just are who they are. Me and my friends would come over and we would do little videos in my apartment. When you're young and you're having fun and you're smart and beautiful and you feel like the world is yours and all these other things. We would do photo shoots and dance in my house, and I would capture that, and I don't know, I felt like it was important to be able to freeze time for that moment and look back at that moment and then be like, wow, we did that. And I would, document my family. And I would document my experience in high school. I've just always been really fascinated in telling stories. I understand that telling stories liberates people and it makes people feel seen and heard. And I believe that we all have storytellers in our community, and I'm that storyteller for my community. But yeah, so I would do that, and then afterwards I started my first big project, Dancing in the Dark, and that was a documentary that explored the Black and Latino American queer experience. And that was so exciting because I had the opportunity to get to meet all these club promoters and go out and get invited and get drinks, and that project literally wore me out. Because it was I was out all the time and I was dancing and I was drinking and I was photographing people and interviewing people and getting these very intimate moments because I wouldn't say I'm a key pillar in the nightlife community, but that was my community, that is my community. And so we got very intimate in these conversations that we shared together. And I was just really excited to be putting together a movie, a film. And, you know, I don't think people just right out the bat just come out and say they're gonna make a feature film. I just was really passionate about my community and wanted to like highlight my community as, you know, an ethnic diverse person living in New York. So yeah, I put that film together and, you know, I was like, I'm gonna, you know, do the film festival route, it's gonna be really great. And I got into nowhere. I spent so much money. I remember spending about like $500 in film submission fees. And I just felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm so proud of this film. Why can't people see the true value of this project, you know? Like, these people are talking about really important things, about love, about, you know, living in New York as a, you know, ethnically diverse person in New York City. And I just didn't understand why people didn't receive the film. I've always been resourceful in the work that I do. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna promote this film myself, you know? And maybe it'll end somewhere, I don't know. And I started to promote the film, you know, during Tumblr days. It was a Tumblr vibe. Tumblr vibe. And I just posted it on Tumblr, and then I was texting all my friends. I'm sure plenty of my friends are aware of my text messages. And I would text them and send them the film, and I'm like, hey, check out my film, I want you to see it. I remember just like doing my own promotion. And then the first thing that happened out of doing the promotion is, you know, on Tumblr, it was starting to share a lot. And then someone was like, you should submit it to Days Digital. Like, that would be a really great idea. That would be something good for this project. And so I did. And, you know, I began a conversation with them. And from there, the film started to get more traction. And I think at that point, maybe it reached like 5,000 views on YouTube through Days Digital. And then after Days Digital was the Huffington Post. And then after the Huffington Post, it was just like Vice and Galore and all these other publications were like talking about the story. It was the first project I've ever done, and I just remember saying like, wow, like I didn't get into any film festivals, but I did the promotion for my film and made it to about 10,000 views. And so, you know, months later, you know, traction started to like slow down. And then I just remember I was at jury duty because as a creative, I feel like people don't understand that, like, you know, sometimes you have to do those odd jobs, and sometimes you have obligations because your artwork is not fully compensating itself. And so I was at jury duty, and I'm so for the people. I'm so for the people, like, I'm fighting the power, like, white supremacy die, like, give white supremacy cancer. And so I'm very much like that, and so I was jury duty, and I just was not participating. Like, I would sleep during jury duty, and I just remember that I would be on my laptop, and one time I had my laptop confiscated because I just was not interested in like voting yes or no to these like predominantly like Black or Latin people who were, you know, in court. Like, I feel like Black and, you know, we as a people were always put against one another, and I just don't want to participate in that. So just one day I was, you know, on my laptop, and I was just browsing my documentary, and I did a refresh, and it went from 10,000 to 20,000. And I was just kind of like, that's kind of wild. I'm like, is YouTube broken? Like, how did 10,000 views just pop out of nowhere? And then I just kept refreshing, and every time I would refresh, the numbers would get bigger and bigger. And I'm just like, did someone reblog? Till this day, I don't know how it got to that number, but of course, you know, the power of Adomako. And so with my tenacity and doing publicity and things like that, like the film continued to reach people. And then I remember it just kept going. Like every time I would refresh, it would be like 10,000 more views, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Until this day, I don't know if I could say it ever went, I can't say it went viral, but right now as we stand, this documentary stands at over 500,000 views online on YouTube. And so that's just the power of being able to see your artwork and believe in it. After doing Dance in the Dark, I've came up so many other projects. I've done a docu-series afterwards, which celebrates, multi-diverse background people who are queer in relationships.
We do everything that everybody else does, that any other normal married couple would do, except we're just two men and we have a child. That's it. I'm not looking to be special or to be the face of a movement. I'm just looking to be recognized, to say for people that are out there like me that, hey, we're people.
And then afterward, I did my first narrative project, Fish.
This is for my niggas switching on the block. This is for my niggas switching on the block. No, we giving out shots, running from the cops, oh Lord.
And Fish was so meaningful to me because I got to make these amazing friends out of the talent who played my on-screen friends. To see how they're creating their own work as well is just super exciting. After Fish, I did this tribute to Sade. I'm such a fan of Sade. Sade is just so amazing to me, and I just wanted to show her some love. That was another amazing project out of all the amazing projects that I did, because that project got me the opportunity to work with one of my favorite music artists, Don Christensen. I love his music, and the fact that he's a Black queer man doing his thing as a multi-talented music artist and rapper is just really cool, and I will always be saluting him and what he's doing. The first time Don Christensen and I collaborated was when he had allowed me to use his music for the soundtrack of Fish. So it was kind of like a build-up. It was like, okay, he's on the soundtrack, how can I get him in a project? And I think about the people who collaborate with me. I'm very much okay, we gelled, let's make this work. So I've been gelling with him, and we made that happen, and it landed on Paper Magazine, which was amazing. And just to see the response, I'm always just very I'm just always oh my God, I can't believe people really, well, it's not the fact that I can't believe it, because I can believe people are very interested in the work. It's just that I'm always oh my God, the secret's out. I'm oh my God, they know how cool this is. They understand how cool this is. Yeah, it was just kind of the fact that people see the work and honor it. And it's just kind of wow, you caught on to the secret. This is a big secret, and you caught on. So I get really excited about people catching on to the secret. But yeah, the Sade project just motivated me to continue on. And then the pandemic happened. And the pandemic was terrible, but also it was kind of amazing. And, I was one of those people who was blessed to receive those unemployment checks. And those unemployment checks changed my life, because with those employment checks created